Welcome back, Math Level E, Lesson 18. Find your textbook page for Lesson 18, finds Part 1. Each problem shows the denominator of a fraction and the whole number the fraction equals. To figure out the top number of the fraction, you multiply the denominator with the whole number. Problem A, start with the denominator of the fraction and say the multiplication problem. Ready? 36 times 5. So I'm going to rewrite this. 36 times 5. 6 times 5 is 30. 0 down, carry the 3. 5 times 3 is 15 plus 3, 15, 16, 17, 18. 180. So my new numerator is 180. I want you guys to go ahead and complete B, C, and D on your own. You may pause when you are finished. Come on back and we will complete. All right, find Part 2. These problems tell what happened first and next. For each problem, you'll write the values in the same order they occur in the problem. You'll put the values in a number family, and then we'll solve, okay? Problem A says, in the morning, Jim washed some windows. In the afternoon, let me go ahead and erase these. You guys should have those by now. Problem A, in the morning, Jim washed some windows. Okay? Next part of the problem. In the afternoon, he washed 56 more. He washed 89 windows in all. How many windows did he wash in the morning? Okay, or 89, goodness. So these are just simple word problems that we have done in the past with the number families. So remember, if I'm missing a small number, I have to work backwards. Let's see, 89 minus 56. Luckily, I don't have to borrow. That makes it easier for me. 9 minus 6, 9, 8, 7, 6, 3. 8 minus 5, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. 33 what? 33 windows. So he washed 33 windows in the morning. Goodness, you should come to my house. Problem B. Tina had 560 stamps. So if she had something, she used to have that many stamps, but she no longer has them. She sold some stamps and ended up with 341 stamps. All right, so my big number is what she had in the beginning, 560. She sold some stamps, I don't know how many, but in the end, she had 341 left. I'm going to have to work backwards again and subtract. 560 minus 341. Gonna have to borrow here. 6 minus 1 is 5. Then this turns into a 10. Go ahead and solve. Don't forget to put your label. What are we talking about here? She is telling about how many stamps she sold. Okay, that's B, the word problem for B. Let's go ahead and get C and D set up as well so that you can complete those on your own. Problem C. The dogs had 478 fleas on them. Oh, gross. The dogs had 478 fleas on them. The dogs went into a swamp and some more fleas jumped on them. Okay, so the end is a bigger number than how much they had in the beginning. So 478 fleas. They went into a swamp and some more jumped onto them. The dogs ended up with 1,345 fleas. 1,345 fleas. I'm missing a small number. Gonna have to subtract. 1,345 minus 478. Gonna have to borrow in two places. Here, 4 minus 1 is 3. And then I have to borrow here. 3 minus 1 is 2. Oh, and then I make that 13, and then I have to borrow from over here as well. So now I have 15 minus 8, 13 minus 7, and 12 minus 4. You may go ahead and solve those. Let's go ahead and set up problem D for you. I'm just going to move this a bit. Problem D. Now let me read it. The dogs had lots of fleas on them. The dogs went swimming. 1,008 fleas jumped off. The dogs ended up with 309. So they started with a lot of fleas. Some jumped off, and they ended up with, some jumped off, they ended up with 309. So they started with a lot of fleas. They ended with 309. So I have to find my other small number to find out how many fleas jumped off of them. This is a better story where the fleas leave the dogs. So I'm going to subtract 309. Gonna have to borrow here, but this is a 0, so I have to keep going over until I can find a 1 to borrow. 1 minus 1 is 0. Then I have to make this a 10. Then I have to cross it out and make it a 9 and bring my 1 over here. No, I have a 10 here. I'm going to cross it out and make it a 9. And I'm going to bring my 1 here. Now I have 18 minus 9, which is 9. 9 minus 0 is 9. 9 minus 3, 9, 8, 7, 6. 699. 699 what? Fleas. The only reason I solved this one for you is because this problem was a little tricky, and I wanted to make sure that we were able to do that. So you guys are on your own for C. All right. When you are finished, we're going to jump over to find part 3 in our books. Okay? Each item in part 3 shows 2 equivalent fractions. You're going to write the multiplication fractions. Equations that show that they are equivalent. Remember, if they are equivalent, you'll multiply the first fraction by 1 to get the other fraction. All right. So, part 3. You guys are going to write multiplication problems for these fractions. Okay? Item A, both shaded parts equal 2. The top number line shows that there is 1 part in each unit. The fraction for that number line is 2 over 1. The bottom line shows 4 parts in each unit. So how many parts are shaded for the bottom line? 8. So the fraction for the bottom number line is 8/4. I'm going to write this down for us. Problem A looks like this. 2 over 1 times blankety blank equals 8 over 4. Now, we have to see if they are equivalent fractions. I know they are by looking at the picture, but... All right, so 8 divided by 2 is 4. 4 divided by 1 is 4. What does 4 over 4 equal? Remember, the same number on the top and the bottom equals 1. Good job. All right, let's go ahead and look at B. That's a scary looking B. All right, here is my fraction for B. They both look equivalent. Now you're going to be writing the 2 fractions for B. Show the 2 fractions that are equal. Show what you multiply by for the first fraction to get the other fraction. Now here's where the book is telling me to just let you guys go. I'm going to, however, help you with B, and then I will let you try C and D on your own. So my first fraction on B, I have 1 part per unit, but I have 3 parts shaded, times blankety blank equals the second fraction. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parts per whole. 5, and I can count by 5s. 5, 10, 15 goes on the top. Here's what you should have. Now, 15 divided by 3 is 5. 5 divided by 1 is 5. 5 over 5 equals 1. I want you guys to go ahead and do C and D on your own. When you are finished, we're moving over to the workbook page. All right, find your workbook page for lesson 18. These are division problems with a remainder. Remember, you write the answer for the correct fact number, then you subtract and write the remainder. Problem A. 47 divided by 5. Write the number of times 5 goes into 47. Then write the remainder. Go ahead and complete A through F on your own. When you are ready, you may unpause and move on to part 2. Part 2, first you'll write the division problem for each fraction. Row A, read the fraction as a division problem. 528 divided by 6. So if I want to write 528 divided by 6, if I can find my marker again. Here we are. I would say 528 divided by 6. Okay, now they want you to use your calculator to solve. If you use your calculator, you would hit the 528 division sign 6. Okay, but I don't have a calculator, so I can go ahead and do long division, and then you can find your remainder. So let's see. 6 goes into 52. How many times? A number that is close to 52 but not over on the 6 line. 8. 6 times 8 is 48. So now I subtract 48 from 52. Can't do this, gotta borrow. 5 minus 1 is 4. 12 minus 8, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. No, definitely not 8, it's 4. I apologize. All right, and then 4 minus 4 is 0. So then I'm gonna go ahead and bring this 8 down. I just did this one, okay? So 6 times 8 was 48, so 6 times another 8, and now it's solved. So my answer here is 88. Go ahead and write the rest of those problems in part 2. If you have a calculator, by all means, please use your calculator. If you do not, please solve the long way. The rest of us are moving on to part 3. All right, you're going to write numerals that have a decimal part. Remember, if the decimal part is tenths, it ends one place after the decimal point. Remember, this is tenths, this is hundredths, and this is thousandths. 1, 2, 3. All right. Numeral A says, I'm going to read it to you and you're going to write it in on your chart. 16 and 45 hundredths. 16 and 45 hundredths. Okay, so remember, when I say and, that's where my dot goes, or my decimal. So 16 and 45/100ths. That's for A. Let's go ahead and do B. I want you to write this problem down. Ready? And you're starting this problem. You're starting these at in the first box, right under the tens. Okay. The next problem. 12 and 4/10. 12 and 4/10. So 12 and 4/10. So these two problems are going to start from the beginning, and then this should end up on the 10th line, and this should end up on the 100th line. Your next problem. 6 and 351 thousandths. 6 and 351 thousandths. So find the ones column, go down, put the 6 in the ones column, and then the thousandths numeral. 351. Okay, so these are my different columns here. Ooh. All right, my next number is 7 and 8/10. So 7 is my ones number. So 7 and 8/10. This is on the ones box. This is on the tens box. All right, one more number for E. 7 and 83/100ths. So 7 goes under my ones column. 7 and 83/100ths. That's what you should have for all of your problems. Scoot out of your way a little. All right, let's see where we are. All right, part 6 is independent work. Actually, part 4, 5, and 6 are independent work in your workbook, and you also have independent work in your textbook. So go ahead and flip back to your textbook. When you're finished, don't forget to submit to your teacher.